Live from Break Free Worldwide headquarters in Houston, Texas. With your host, Jeremy. And B-Boy Moy. And joining us tonight,
check 1, 2. Yo, what up, world? Welcome to Break Free Worldwide Podcast, episode number 21. And today we have a really special guest. I believe she is the second solo featured female to be here on the podcast. And I've seen her on my journey as a dancer and being in the game, in the competitive scene. I've seen her over the years, and she's one of the dopest females in the game, and I don't mean that just because she's here in front of me, and I'm saying that because she's here in front of me. Check the track record if you haven't already, but everyone make some noise representing Vancouver, Canada, JK47. Shout out our live audience. Bgirl. What's up, JK? Good to see you. Good to have you here. How you feeling?
I feel good. I'm stoked.
Yeah. Was this your first time in Houston, or?
No, I've been here a few times, but every time I've come, it's like for a day or two.
Really?
Yeah, just in and out for a
Business
battle.
as usual.
You know it.
What was the other battle you went to?
Red Bull.
Oh, that's
that was
right.
the last time I was here. Red Bull Cypher. Yeah.
And you won that one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, dope. Nice.
That's crazy.
It's kind of cold today.
Just a little bit.
But not for you. You're used to Canada.
No, I'm a fancy man. I was in Cali for like a month, and then when I went to Vancouver,
you got acclimated to Cali weather.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I got to get used to all this again.
Yeah. So I mean, to get straight into it, the majority of our audience is B-boys and B-girls. But we do have a lot of people that tune in and are curious about just artistry in general and entrepreneurs. But for anybody that doesn't know, like, what's the short story of JK47? Like, how long have you been dancing? How did you start? What's the upcoming story of you?
All right, cool. So I've been breaking for about 15, almost 16 years now. I'm originally born in California, which is why I'm actually living in the States now. But yeah, I learned how to break in Vancouver. So right now I'm just traveling on my own personal tour. It's called the Amplified Tour. Mm-hmm. And this is going to go on until, I believe, June. And
nice.
Basically I'm just going to different cities, doing like a 2-week residency and just teaching workshops, teaching classes, and allowing myself to be available for the community, especially the B-girls. If they have questions and they want help, like I want to be available just to help them grow and just be there. So that's basically what I'm doing right now, which is why I'm here in Houston. Mm-hmm. And then I found out that there was your guys' anniversary. Happy anniversary, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So it just worked out because I was like, yo, I'm going to be in Houston and this on the same weekend that I arrived. So so that just worked out perfectly. And so I'm going to be here until the 14th, teaching some classes. I'm actually going to be teaching, next door, the Play Champions
right after
class,
this.
which is pretty tight.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, that's basically what I got.
Where were you before this? Go from the beginning of the tour. When did it start?
So it started in January. I was in San Diego. So I was there for 2 weeks too. I taught at a college called Maricopa College. And then after that, I worked with Fatal Sting because they had the B-Girl battle going on, the Bonnie and Clyde, with B-Girl Session San Diego. So I was there for 2 weeks. And then after that, I went home real quick. Then I went to not San Diego, sorry, I just said that, Denver, Colorado. And I was working with a School of Breaking in Aurora. And so, that was my last stop, and now I'm here.
And then next you're going to?
I go to Chicago.
Nice.
Actually, I lied. I'm going to go to Mexico City.
Yeah, I was like, you told me something different.
Yeah, I'm going to Mexico City for Bgirl City, Mexico. This is new, so that's why I totally forgot about it. I literally just got my tickets.
It's good problems. You got a lot going on.
Yeah. So, I do that, and then I go to Chicago.
Dope. And is that the end of it, or?
No.
Let's go through the whole thing.
We want to go through the whole thing? Oh, okay, cool. Oh, that's true.
Let them know where you're going to be at.
We got time. So I'm going to be in Chicago, and then after that I'm going to go to Boston, and then I'll be in New Jersey, and then I will go, where am I going to be after that? And then I go back to San Diego. And by that time it will be in June.
That's so dope, man. I think it's something like what you're doing, and to like simplify it, like in simple terms, you're like you yourself are going out like grassroots education, and for no other reason, just for the fact that you're funding yourself, and you're going and doing your own personal tour, like you built it in the beginning. And I know Moy's done something like that before, and when I saw Moy do it, I was like, man, he told me the stories about how much fun he had, and impacting each community city by city that you go to. And I think the right people have to do it, of course. Not everyone can just do it. Word. But for you to be doing it, you certainly are in the position to do it. You have a lot to share, and that's the definition of grassroots education. So it's really dope to see you do that. And I was curious, are you what's your history with teaching? Like, have you taught a lot, or?
Yeah, so I started teaching in Vancouver. So in Vancouver, that's all I did. I taught classes, I was doing shows, just a full-time Bgirl life. So yeah, I've been doing it for a minute now, yeah.
And you said you've been dancing 15, 16 years?
Yeah, close to that, yeah.
How did you get into it? What's your story of first seeing breaking? Who was your first teachers? What's all that?
Yeah, so my older sister, she used to be a Bgirl, and she actually introduced it to me when I was 8.
Nice.
And my brother is a solid hip-hop head too, and he was getting to breaking too. So I just grew up with like graffiti on our walls. We had DJs coming over, spinning for our house parties, watching Battle of the Year on VHS.
Wow.
And just, my sister, she's a freestyler too. She's an MC, so like there'll be like MC ciphers at our house. So
wow.
Yeah, I grew up to that.
Just an authentic hip-hop environment.
Yeah. So it was really cool. And so, but because I was young, I didn't really take it too seriously, but I knew what was up already. And then not until I was 14, when I was in high school, I saw some guys, they were breaking in the cafeteria, and I connected to what I was watching. I was like, yo, I know that. That's a 6-step. Oh, I know that too. That's a baby freeze. And I just got so stoked. And of course, the guys, they were doing power moves, and I'm like, oh, yo. And immediately, I remember watching It's Like That by Run DMC. And remembering that the girls versus the guys, and the first woman that I ever saw do a power move was Asia One.
Yeah.
And so when I remember that watching the guys, I was like, yo, so I went home right away.
Like, I can do that.
Heck yeah. Not yet at that time, but I wanted it. So then
you knew it was possible.
Yeah, totally. And then so I went on YouTube, and I just watched that video over and over again, and like Asia One's rounds. And I just kept watching. I was like, yo, that is so cool. And I would try it. One of the first things I would try to do was, what she did was like a 6-step to a flare, and I kept practicing that. And then she would do a drill. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that too. And so, yeah, so when I was 14, that's when I really started to get like really hungry for it. And then one thing led to the other. My sister was getting deeper into emceeing, and so she was doing a lot of shows, and she got connected with the first Bgirl crew in Vancouver, and they're called the Fly Antics crew. And so they got connected, and they were just like, yo, let's be an all-female hip-hop crew. So that was happening, and then my sister was like, yo, like my little sister is a hungry Bgirl, yo. So she connected us, and then so one of the Bgirls, her name is Invertebrat, and she was my first real mentor. She taught me my foundations. So when my sister introduced me to her, I started taking her classes, and then from there it just went. And so that's when I was like, yo, like this is so tight, and I was just so immersed in the culture. And then she told me about all the different practice spots that I could go to. So I was living in the suburbs in Surrey, and I would just go wherever I needed to go. Like if it was like the other side of town, I would go there just to practice, or I would go just to hit up a jam. Like I was hungry for it.
Yeah.
And I love my mentor so much because she laid it down, man. She told me, yo,
there's
the
no
whole
choice.
crew,
You got no choice to.
she'd be like, yo, don't be mixing matching your brands, you know. I remember, I will never forget it. The first time I wore like a friggin' a Nike jacket, and I had Adidas
Reeboks.
shoes, and it was just like, Jay, what the heck are you doing? I was like, I don't know, but the one thing I'll never forget though, and I'm very grateful for her, was that she had me over at her place, and she played the Queen Bee VHS tape, and it was like a 3-on-3 Bgirl battle years ago, and this is where I got educated hard.
Yeah.
This is where she's like, Jay, if you're gonna get into this, you need to know who's who in this game. And I was like, word. And she's like, this is so and so, this is Floor Angels, this is da 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 da. And I was like, oh my gosh. And at that point, my mind was so blown away and open to the fact that, yo, there are Bgirls all over the place.
Yeah.
And they're really good. And then they're taking it to new levels. And so, of course, my inspiration just skyrocketed, and then I wanted it even more. And I started Googling and started searching, like, who are some other Bgirls? And this is what kept me going. This is really what kept me inspired and motivated.
The representation.
Yeah. And I remember Googling or YouTubing just Bgirls, and then that's where I started to find out who Tanya was. Tanya from Spain. And then after that, I started to find out who Movie One was. I was like, oh my gosh. And then Nadia, like all the European girls. And of course, I started to find out who the Japanese girls were. And then my mind was just getting blown away at 16. I was like, oh, this is so cool, like, wow. And, I only look at the footage for inspiration, just to educate myself and let me know what's out there. And then I took that inspiration and I went to practice, and I would practice so hard almost every day. I would go to this rec center called Guilford Rec in my hood, and it was available to us all day, every day. And there's this place where it's called Under the Stairs, because really you enter the rec center, you walk down the stairs, and there's people playing ping pong, but under the stairs, that's where the B-boys, that's where they get down, that's where we cipher. And I'm like, yo, this is
people
where
under the stairs.
Under the yeah, straight up, yeah. And this is where I was raised. This is where I learned all my excuse my language. I don't want to say anything, but my
You can say it.
Can I? Okay.
Yeah. MVP will bleep it out, right? No.
Yeah, that's how my story started. Yeah.
When I hear you tell your story, I can hear the genuine excitement and obsession that you had when you first started.
Word, man.
And that's really dope to hear. And I think, you spoke about knowing your history and doing the research, and that's very important. But I think that like genuine love for the dance from the moment you saw it, and even hear it now in the excitedness in your voice as you tell that story, I think that's why you are who you are. And I think like if anybody asks you for advice, or if anyone asks anybody for advice, I think that's always like the number one thing that should be foundationed for your style and your dance, or even as an artist, is passion. It's a cliche, but that's
it's the truth.
It's the truth, So it's really dope to hear you say that. And I was in Vancouver like 2 months ago.
Oh, word.
Yeah, I was there with Now or Never crew.
Oh, Ty, those are my brothers.
They threw a little cypher jam, and I battled Severin. I did an exhibition.
You battled Severin?
Yeah, I did an exhibition battle against Severin.
Sevi, if you're watching this, man, I'm so proud of you.
Yes.
Sevi's nasty.
Yeah, he is. It was a dope battle. So I was expecting to see you up there, but I guess you're already starting your tour.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vancouver was super dope, man. I know you mentioned Surrey. You said it was the suburbs.
Yeah.
I thought it was the hood. That's what they told me.
Yeah. So it's
There's different sections.
Yeah, there's a lot of different sections. So it's far, but in my particular area, and also a little bit around the surrounding areas, like Surrey, Wally, to the homies, Ading, you know who I'm talking about. This area is hood and just but it's cool though. Like, I mean, I feel like anywhere that you go, it's always going to be a little bit sketchy, and it's just a matter of your energy.
Well, I bring that up because I was there with Jack. I stayed with Jax.
Oh, you were with Jax?
Yeah. Shout out to Jax. Jack's the homie now. But he stays in Surrey, and he was like, yeah, bro, I stay in Surrey. It's considered the hood. And he was like, yeah, this is Surrey. And I looked around, and I was like, man, this is pretty nice for a hood.
Oh, man.
But I know it can get bad. Like, I'm not here to down talk or anything. I'll be like, Houston is more hood than Vancouver, and brag about it. But
that's true.
But yeah, I love Vancouver. It's really dope. Cool. How many years did you spend over there? Like what?
Oh man, I grew up there.
You pretty much grew up there.
I grew up there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dope, and I love the style of like the Vancouver style that originated from there, and you can see that in your breaking too.
Cool.
And I know you mentioned you name dropped a lot of Bgirls and who you got your inspiration from and your mentors, but like how would you encompass your style? I know it's you, and you like whenever people ask me that, like how would you describe your style?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's Jeremy, and that's it. But how would you say, like, what is your approach when you go out, when you dance? I'm curious to know that, because I think that's something that's really overlooked nowadays in the scene, is what you're trying to accomplish and what your approach to this dance is when you go out on the floor. So what is your approach?
I guess you could say it is pretty foundational, but also I like to nerd out and work on different shapes. So I would say it's like, detail oriented. I don't go too crazy on it, but for me, I enjoy creating shapes, and so I would say it is foundational and detail oriented with some weird stuff.
That's what makes it good.
Yeah.
The weird stuff for sure.
Yeah.
And you are heavily not heavily you are heavily involved in the competitive scene. I've seen you over the years, and I know you love to compete. So I would love to hear your opinion on like the competitive scene nowadays, and especially like we could bring up the Olympics. That's obviously like a hot topic, and your opinion on that. But we could just start with like how you view the competitive scene nowadays, how you enjoy battling, or maybe some things you see that needs improvement. How do you view the competitive scene, the breaking scene nowadays?
Well, for sure, the competitive scene, it's a whole nother level. You know, you got bigger platforms. The music is different, totally different, and I totally understand.
Like in a good way or bad way?
It's a mix of both. I definitely have mixed feelings on it, but I understand why.
Copyright issues.
Yeah, exactly, right? And at the same time, of course, when you have a lot of these breaks that are very like high tempo and just, I guess you can call it like steroid breaks. But you know, for
Synthetic.
those, for those who are very powerful in their movements, this kind of music will
suits them well.
It's perfect for them. Me in particular, I like more of the raw, the hip hop, just the raw flavor, the old school flavor, because I love the groove, and I want to get down. Sometimes when I'm at practice, and then you have some homies who are playing like these crazy mixtapes, and they're really dope, but I'm like, I can't even dance to it. It's so hard. I can't even just do a top row, because I'm like, I can't even hit the beat. It's so...
Yeah,
you know
that's a good way. I always like to joke about that, and it's like there's beats where they're like, "Hey, hit me! Hey, hey, this beat's coming up. You better do it."
Yo, for real.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's kind of the way you view it. I view it in the same way, and I figured you more the you dig the music with feeling, and it's difficult. It really is difficult, and I understand. Shout out to all the DJ homies, all the break DJs that do it and create music and produce their own music. I know it's difficult, but it is. When people talk about quote unquote issues in the scene nowadays, I think a lot of it can derive from the music. You know. Besides the music, what do you think about? I mean, we can go into the Olympics or any other bigger platform like BC1 or anything that there may be. How do you view it going into the future and it being put on bigger platforms like the Olympics? Cool.
So with the Olympics, for me, I support it. I know a lot of people are not about it, but for me, it's another platform. It's another avenue for people to excel in different ways. It's very interesting just because, you know, I hear a lot of negative talk about it, and I understand where they're coming from too. And when it comes to preserving the culture, before the Olympics, before these huge and massive platforms, we've all been here. And regardless, we've just, I guess you can say the underground. We've been in the underground, but we're the ones that are always going to keep our culture alive and raw and authentic. And in my opinion, the Olympics is not going to change that. And if people have problems with that, you know, of course, everyone has their own opinions. But at the end of the day, if you're really not happy about it, you know, you can do something about it. But at the same time, too, like I said, we've all been here. We're still here. You have many people who are still throwing local jams. You have many people who are still contributing and helping to build the communities that are teaching them what our culture is really about. And that's not going to change anything. We're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep loving our culture. We're going to keep loving this dance that we practice. And so, you know, the Olympics is, I think it's really cool. Me personally, I might not be a person to participate in it, because that's something you got to freaking commit to, you know, man. Like, it's for real. Like, you're going to train like an athlete. That is for sure. But I also believe that, like, especially with the Youth Olympics, I think that was a perfect test trial. And they had the right judges. They had the right people who came together to help bring this together. And you know, as long as it was like a jam. Yeah. And as long as you have the right people, and we don't want to make the same mistakes as we did in the past. We don't want to exploit breaking, and we really want to show what our culture is about. And what I also really love about the Olympics is that it's gonna bring more exposure to our culture, and it may highlight different aspects of breaking in a different way, or excuse me, not in a different way, more.
Yeah.
But I feel like the fact that it's getting exposed more. You have fools who are like that one guy that I saw in this interview. He's like, breaking in the Olympics, that's ridiculous. Or I don't know, he said something really not cool. But
Name names.
I forgot his name. No, he was like a guy on the news. I don't know.
Oh, really? Like some regular.
Yeah. So I don't know his name.
Yeah, because it's got a lot of media exposure since then. And,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so, for example, like, for those kind of people, it's letting people know, like, yo, breaking is alive, and it's just been in the underground. But I mean, it's so fully active and it's huge. And so having this super exposed on a huge platform, not only is this going to let people know what's up, but at the same time too, one of my biggest missions, and of course Erica's, Bgirl, is to help build the Bgirl scene.
Yeah.
When girls are going to see breaking on the big screens, they're going to be like, oh, I don't know, maybe this is just in my head, you know what I mean?
No, it will happen. I know what you're going to, it will happen.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I strongly believe that. And one of the biggest things, it's been a constant talk. It's been a constant thing, a struggle of just, why isn't enough B-girls? Or, you know, how can we help build the Bgirl scene? And of course there are many factors to it, but one of them is just exposure. Yeah. And
well, when you hear your story, the story you just told about how you got into it, you said there was like 4 or 5, like your mind just kept getting more and more blown, and you saw the possibilities. You saw another female representing. You said, I could do that. There's a possibility of doing that. So if it's done, that is certainly, it goes without saying, that's going to happen in at least one case if it goes to the Olympics. And we've mentioned this a lot in the podcast, but it's called like the principle of the one. Like when you hear teachers, you've probably said this yourself, it's like, if I can impact one student, if I can, then it makes it all worth it, you know? So I think if you say that, I've said this before in the podcast, but if you believe in that and you believe in the principle one, if you said that before in your life, then you should support the Olympics.
Totally.
And while there is things that can be said about it being represented right, and there is work to do, but the work will be done, and the necessary thing will be done to get it there.
Yeah, nothing's perfect. You know, everything takes steps, everything takes time. So we're just going to keep evolving, we're going to keep growing, and everything, in my opinion, it's going to improve.
So why'd you count yourself out? You said, I don't know if I'll compete.
Oh, no. Well, because it's something that it's just my priorities right now.
Yeah.
So right now, my priorities is my tour, my Amplified tour, and I'm hoping to keep pushing this for the next couple years in different countries, different places of the world. So that's really my main focus. And of course, I want to keep battling, but for me, I want to rep right, and I know the Olympics is going to take a lot of energy. Kind of like with Red Bull. Oh my gosh. Red Bull, I'm telling you, Red Bull was crazy. To anyone who's watching this, to the B-Girls who are part of Red Bull, y'all know, man, that was intense, that was stress, but also it was such a blessing. Just because, of course, it was the first. We were the first round of B-Girls to be part of Red Bull, you know what I mean? And so it was such a blessing, but at the same time, it was just like pressure, like, don't F up, you know what I mean? Because, you know, if we messed up, then they're not going to do another round, you know what I mean? But thankfully, it was such a huge success, and now they're going to do another round from what I hear.
That's dope.
So, but yeah, when it came to Red Bull, the timing of everything worked out too, just because I quit my job and I had to create my own work, and because I created my own work, I had more time to do what I wanted to do, and so I was training all day, every day. For anyone who was following me on Instagram, you saw my posts, you saw my story. I was training like all day, every day, like morning, afternoon, and the evening. Like, it was crazy. Like, I felt like I lost a lot of weight. I totally gained it back because I was like, the stress was done, and I was like, forget everything, I just ate everything. But donuts. What was I saying? I was so focused, and to be focused like that for, what was it, like 3 months? I don't know when that Red Bull was when I won that. I think 3-4 months of just going like this. Oh, that was. It's exhausting.
that makes me the question in my mind pops up because like me as a dancer sometimes, and this I guess can be simplified like the struggle between artistry and sport, you know.
Yeah.
So I know you said like in your mind for the Olympics you have to train like an Olympian, you know.
Yeah.
And while that may be true, and I think that is definitely true, I guess the question to ask is like for a young b-boy or b-girl out there that's asking like or like how you train, or I guess to put it in another way, there's been times where like if I focus so much on training for something specifically, like if I have a jam coming up and I'm like, man, I want to win this jam so bad, and I want to train so hard for it. Sometimes I feel like the way I view this dance and my approach to it, it can come back and bite me.
Oh, totally.
Because like trying too hard, So do you think, like, say you put in your mind to go to the Olympics, and again, this can kind of go into the realm of sport versus artistry. You would have to find that balance, right? Of where you're comfortable and you can train all you want. You can train like an Olympian, and you can put in these hours, you can put in the sweat, you can lift all these weights, you can get all this strength. But when you go up on stage, if you're not there, if you're not zoned out and you're not there artistically, then it won't balance, right?
No, that's actually totally true. And just me, just processing everything. I think mainly the reason why I trained that way for Red Bull was just because of the pressure. And
maybe you've never done that before.
I've never,
So that's why it was beneficial, I think, because you shocked your body and you put yourself through something, and you added something new to what you do, Yeah, and I'm definitely putting it together with the Olympics. But it's very true. Looking back now, it was kind of like, how do I say it? It was almost instant regret of how off balance I was. It's crazy though. No, I wouldn't say I was off balance. No, actually, I was, because I started at one point. I know my homies know about this too. I was losing the joy of it. I definitely did, because I was training too hard. That's what I was speaking on. That's the balance.
Yeah.
So you encountered that. You felt that.
Oh yeah, definitely. And especially at the end when I wasn't able to advance the next round, it was like instant like. I was like, oh, okay, I'm going in. And it was just like, I felt like freedom. But it was just like, it shouldn't have been like that. But nonetheless, I still had amazing time at Red Bull, just to be a part of all that. Like, wow, it was such an honor. And again, I say it again, it was such a blessing to be there. But definitely, there is a balance, for sure.
But I don't think the event was that cool. And honestly, I've never even really heard of that energy drink.
Yep.
Sorry.
Oh goodness.
But man, we got our chat popping right now for you. Shout out to Michelle Oliveira. He tunes in every single episode from Brazil. So Brazil is in the house.
What up, Brazil?
And he says, "Is this Bgirl K47?" Nope. It is JK47.
A for effort, bro. A for effort, yo.
And what tools do y'all use to develop y'all style? That's the question he wants to know. What tools? Do you use one of those rolly things to roll yourself out?
Oh, heck yeah. I literally was with Erica. We went to Walmart and I bought one of those massage balls just to roll my back on. I was like,
So massage balls, what else? Actual
rollers.
Tools? Rollers.
Yep.
Lift weights? Do you lift weights?
Yeah, I can lift weights.
Yep, there you go. Yep. There you go, Brazil. We got Luxury in the house. What's good, everyone? Everything dope that happens in major pop culture started in the underground first, 100%. Good point.
Word.
Enrique, I think you met, Enrique? Hey, of course you know, everyone knows Enrique.
This guy, yeah.
3D B-boys.
Much love to you, bro.
7 to 8 hours a day, that's the training. Enrique trains hard. Word. Anyone know? We got to get Enrique on the podcast, actually. I don't know, we haven't done that already. 3D B-boys. You know Enrique.
Yeah, man.
He's the truth.
Yo, Enrique, you're going to be up here next, bro.
He reps No Easy Props, so he told me that Asia put him down to No Easy Props.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he told me that this weekend.
Yo.
Well deserved. Luxury says, I remember seeing JK47 for the first time back in 2011 during the City vs. City. Congrats on the tour.
Dang.
Wow. That brought you back?
Wow. Yo, thank you. Wow, that's a long time ago,
City vs. City. I remember that event.
Yeah, that's right. You were there in Calgary, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Was that a City vs. City event?
Yep.
The Seven to Smoke?
Yep.
That was a City vs. City event?
Yep.
I didn't even know.
Yep.
That's the one where, like, Momo was in the Seven to Smoke, and that was dope. Yeah, you were there. I remember that.
Yeah.
What City vs. City is he talking about? Is that the one he's talking about?
I think
Calgary?
so. Yeah, because that's 2011.
Dope. And then we got people laughing at me. Monster up. Whatever, Enrique. Yeah, so the next thing we can go into, I know you spoke a little bit about it, and this is probably a huge reason why you do this tour, but how important is it for you to represent for for B-girls and for females specifically?
Okay.
And if do you think there's an underrepresentation of B-girls in the scene? If there is, why do you think that is? And like, if there is any issues, what are solutions you see to that?
Okay, first off, yes, it means everything to represent as a B-girl in the scene. Just because, as a woman, we need more female representation in this B-boy hip-hop culture. And just to be a part of this culture and just to do what I love to do, it means everything. It means everything just to know that you got strong women who are here, you got women who are representing all day, every day. Whether you see them on the big screen or not, we are all here. And just to have the opportunity to be on platforms, and especially to be on this podcast, to let people know that we are here, we are putting in work. Regardless if you know us or not, we are all here. And I owe a lot to my older sister for introducing this to me. I owe it a lot to my mentor for teaching me my foundations and for telling me the truth and let me know what's up. I owe it all to all the women out there who have supported me, who have loved me, who have cherished and cared for me. So me representing on the floor, it's for all my sisters who put in time and love and energy into me. And even for those who don't even know me, but just for being an inspiration to me, I owe it to them too. So it means so much to represent on the floor. What was the other one?
Issues. That was amazing, by the way. Audience, please make some noise. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That answered the first part of the question perfectly. And then I asked if you thought there was any issues, and if there are any issues regarding B-girls and how they're represented. What do you think they are, and what do you think the solutions to them would be?
That is a good question. I feel like there are a lot of B-girls who are doing their best to represent. What I would love to see more is for women to get hired more. For example, this is crazy. So at Red Bull, you had 5 strong...
I still don't know what you're talking about, by the way.
You had 5 strong, powerful, influential, amazing women at Red Bull. You had Jay Skills, you had Bgirl, you had Rock, you had Aruna, and you had Nadia. And these amazing women didn't even judge the whole the B-girl aspect of the battles. I'm like, yo, you have them here. Why aren't they? And just
so that's what you mean, like they should have been in that seat.
Totally.
Why weren't they employed? Why weren't they put in that position? Yeah.
Exactly. And you have a lot of amazing women who can hold it down on a mic. Why aren't they getting hired to host other events? You have women who are putting work and behind the scenes helping to organize events, but why aren't they getting shout out? You know what I mean? Like I said, there are women here who have been putting work and who are still doing work, and they need to be acknowledged. And it'd be really dope if people were able to employ them more and to let people know what's up. Yeah.
Shout out to Maka. Monster Energy B-Girls, because she's
What up, Maka?
Yeah, she's a really good example, and me getting to know her, being a part of the team for a couple of months, and I'm almost approaching a year now. She's a awesome representation for me, along with you and along with a lot of girls out there doing it. And me too. I can attest, like, teaching since 2011 and running Break Free here, and we have a student body now of about 190 kids, and I would say the ratio of boys to girls is pretty even, if not more girls than there is boys. And on the surface, for like the average person, like when I talk, sometimes we get calls and people are interested in classes, and mothers or fathers of sons that are looking for dance programs. A lot of times I hear, oh yeah, well, my boy is interested in dance, but I wanted to take him in a place where there's boys and like a masculine dance, you know.
Yeah.
So that is the conception. I do hear things like that, but you know, it's good because I let them know immediately, like, well, yeah, breaking is this, and this is why we teach. This is what we aim for them to do, but it's actually a variety of all different types of kids, and our ratio of boys and girls is actually more girls than boys, and they're surprised when they hear that. But for me, I can attest to the fact too that it's so dope to see that representation, to see all the B-girls that we have in Houston, all the young B-girls, and when I do teach, this is, a lot of people always say this, and this is a cliche, but it's a cliche because it's true. But most of the time, girls pick up faster than boys, and that's true.
Yeah, buddy.
With this dance, and it's true. And I don't know the reason why, just the way things are. But yeah, shout out to all my little B-Girl students, the Break Free B-Girls. Shout out to Josie Rock, Jiley Bean. Shout out to everybody, all the young B-Girls in Houston. You saw them this weekend.
Yeah, dude.
Have you seen them before? Or this is the first time?
I think it was no, I saw one of them before. I forgot her name. But I've seen one, but I haven't seen her
Jiley Bean.
Yeah, I haven't
Jiley's
seen
in
her
it.
yet. Yeah.
Oh, so you did see her this weekend?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
she's super dope,
Yeah.
right?
So cute,
Both
man.
the sisters.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
It. Yeah.
So, moving forward,
Sure.
what do you think, like, how do you see the representation of B-Girls, and how do you view, like, you can have, I'm sure there's like a split, like maybe you have a optimistic view, and maybe there's something you're cautious of, like going into the future, but how do you view like the next coming years, like the scene and how it's going to change and how it's going to evolve, partly in part by the work that you do and what Baby Girl does with B-Girl City, but and that's going to drive it in the right direction, but how do you see it going in the next coming
In
years?
terms of for the B-Girls, right? I feel right now we have more events that are happening for B-Girls, which is amazing. We're starting to have more bonding clydes too, which is tied to having the guys team up with the women and
They had it at Youth Olympic Games.
yeah,
Which is dope.
that's freaking amazing at the Olympic Games too. So I feel like now with more platforms for B-Girls to feel more comfortable to be on the floor, it's amazing. Super beneficial. I feel like more B-Girls are getting exposed and are getting more encouraged. I feel like in the future to come, hands down, there will be more B-Girls. Hands down, I do feel like the culture is in the right direction. Maybe this is me being super optimistic, and for all those who know me, I'm a super positive woman. But yeah, I do feel like definitely in our culture, it's going to keep growing. It's going to keep evolving. New things are definitely going to arise, for sure. And it's just going to be a constant learning experience. It's going to be a constant roller coasters, too. We're going to have moments where our culture is going to be, like, skyrocketing high. And, of course, you're going to have moments where it's just going to shoot back down and people are going to be like, what the fuck just happened? You know what I mean? It's hard to say what the future has in store. But what we can do is just focus on the now. Focus on nurturing our communities right now, nurturing our brothers and sisters in the culture, and work there.
And do you have any students, like actual, like you can call them your students, and these are your proteges, or?
Yo, shout out to Emma. Emma is
I was about to ask.
Emma is our young protege.
I was about to ask,
And,
because I called her out at that Cypher Jam.
Did you?
Yeah, because
Yo.
I saw her at the Youth Olympic Games, and
Yeah.
Moy told me about her. I think she won silver over there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And she was killing it. She
Yeah.
was going out, so she was just killing it all night. It was a Cypher Jam
Yeah.
with me and Severance exhibition.
Yeah.
But I met her there, and I knew she was there at the Olympic Games, and I called her out because of the fact I know that she's hungry.
Yeah,
Just
she
just to
wants to.
seeing her dance and
Yeah.
knowing that she was at the Olympic Games, and we went about 6 or 7 rounds, and we talked afterwards, and
That's
she's
what's
so
up.
respectful, so
Yeah.
humble, so dope, and so hungry, and she took my workshop the day after
Yeah.
that too.
That's
So
what's up,
that's good to
yeah.
hear that.
She
I
wants it.
figured
She wants it.
you teaching her.
Yeah,
And
and not just me. No,
No, I know, I
she's
met-
a protege
yeah.
of the Vancouver scene, especially Surrey, and that's our hood. You know what I mean? And I'm very proud of her, and we all are. And it's so dope to see how flippin' hungry she is. And every time I come back home, Emma, you never fail to just keep calling me out. I love it. She keeps
she's
me on
a
my
cipher
toes.
head for sure.
Yeah,
She's,
for sure.
She was just going
For
out.
sure.
She was the highlight of the night. She was
I believe
going
that.
out more than anybody there. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
dope. Anybody else? Anybody else that you're?
For me, no.
Underneath.
No, I have a lot of kids in the studios, but you know how studios are, you know? A lot of them don't pursue it because the parents are all about the sports or the academics. And I get it. But I had a lot of students who me personally, I'm still proud of them, even though they're doing their own thing right now. But they are pursuing other things now,
Yeah.
for sure. But yeah.
On that note, how do you view? Not to go off topic, but how do you view like learning? Because you didn't learn in the studio.
No, I didn't.
And most of the people now, like if you talk to all the top B-boys and B-girls or people that look up to, and even when you go into other art forms like DJing and MCs, it's not taught in studios or in an environment like this.
Yeah.
But somewhere like Break Free, what is considered a studio, or even when you're going teaching workshops, you're teaching in a studio environment. So how do you view that? Like, how do you translate what you learn authentically and organically into a studio type environment?
So it really depends on the instructor, on how they teach, and at the same time too, really implementing that it's more than just doing a once a week class. Or even if you're doing 2 or 3 times a week, it's more than that. You need to be in the community. That's how you really grow. You have to take yourself out to the open practices. You have to take yourself to the local jams. You have to communicate with the different people of the community. You need to be hungry to learn about the history of your own scene. You need to know what's up. You need to be part of the community. And it's cool. You can be at the studio 3-4 times a week, but I know, hands down, I know with Break Free, y'all know what's up. You guys are telling your students what to do and making sure they're part of the scene and part of the culture, really part of the culture. And hands down, I know, and I believe that your guys' students know what's up, and they're real B-boys, real B-girls. For a lot of times, for the studio dancers, they're just in there just to get some exercise, which is totally understandable. People have their own motives and own reasons why they do things, but real recognizes real, and when you see those who really want it, then of course you invest more. You let them know what's good. I hope I answered the question, but
no, you did. And I like to think, and we always say this here, that I think it's very, very possible and easy to teach hip hop and how to be a b-boy and Bgirl in the studio. It's more so about that authenticity and that feeling of authentic hip hop culture. So as long as the quote unquote studio environment you're in has authentic hip hop, whether it be from the instructors to the surroundings, to what the environment is like, the floor, everything, if that's curated, pretty much what you need to backdoor it with is just regiments and training and consistency and all that, and that can never hurt. Like consistency, regiments, all of that, and being on a schedule is nothing but good. But if you just foundation and you prioritize first that authentic hip hop environment, I think it's certainly possible to teach it in the studio. So on that note, what is if people are thinking about taking a class from you in the future, whether it be on your tour or anywhere you go, what would a JK47 workshop look like? You don't have to give away all secrets, but
okay, no, it's all good. My workshop revolves a lot, especially I really help gear this towards for women who are trying to learn power, or those who have power but want to excel more. So a lot of my workshops help B-boys and B-girls to understand power more. I have a lot of drills for sure. Of course, I kind of work around to my audience, whoever takes the workshop. But I also like to show them how I nerd out. So I give them different tips and exercises and how I do in Surrey and with my homies of BC Buds and how we've developed our style. Definitely.
So you do trivia?
Trivia? What's trivia?
Like you have to ask them about if they know this certain history, this certain fact about B-boy, B-girl culture.
Oh, I haven't done that in my workshop, but I'll do it. I'll do it with like my freaking. I'll do it with them. I'll be like, "Yo, do you know who this is?" That was loud.
Yeah, that's what I was curious for. Like nerding out. Like when I hear that, it's like, all right, everybody, you pull out your chalkboard. That would be dope, though.
Yep.
Have you ever taken an Ivan workshop?
No, I haven't yet.
He has a whistle.
A whistle?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, like he blows and he has you running around and it's pretty crazy. Shout out.
That's dope.
But yeah, I mean, it's so dope to hear your story and thank you for coming here and sharing it.
Thank you for
I know
this
a lot of
opportunity.
people are curious about it, and hopefully it sheds some light. And going back to that principle, if it's somebody, whether B-boy or B-girl, watching and they see this and they're inspired by it and they're impacted positively from it, then that's why we do this. And I know that's why you do it too, hearing you being genuine and coming from the heart from it. So to wrap things up, well, first, last question before we wrap it up.
Sure.
Do you have any battles coming up besides your tour? Like, where can people catch you?
What's happening? Yes, there is a battle happening April. What month is it right now? It's March.
Yeah.
Is there anything happening in March? No, in April. Rock Harder in Toronto. It's a It's a 2-on-2. There's a 3-on-3 open and a 2-on-2 bonding Clyde. So me and the homie Omen of Supreme Beings, we're gonna be teaming up for this. So I'll be out there. We're gonna do our thing. So that's the next battle.
It's a Bonnie and Clyde.
It's a Bonnie and Clyde. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And then anything after that?
After that, what'd you say? April 27th. And that's April 27th. After that, no. I think I'm gonna just be aiming for Culture of 4. Yeah.
Yeah. I went there
Calamity
last year.
Jam.
Super dope.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty hype.
Really
so
fresh.
I think that's basically what I'm aiming for now.
Nice.
Oh, no,
nice.
I lied. IBE. I'm going to be in Europe this summer. I'm pretty stoked. And for the first time,
First time at IB?
No. I was going to say first time at Outbreak. It's going to be my first time. So
Outbreak Europe.
Yeah, Outbreak Europe.
Dope,
yeah.
dope. And we always ask this question before wrapping up the podcast is if there's specifically any young Bgirls out there, or even for any artists, entrepreneurs looking to grow and take their art to the next level, or just be happy with their art and be good artists, what would your advice be? I know it's a really vague question, but what would be your advice to young listeners, young artists out there?
For sure. For me, it's not to sound cheesy, corn dog. I always say this, but really follow your heart. I wouldn't be where I am right now if I didn't listen to that conviction of my heart and of my gut. I've had so many people tell me to be realistic, to think about, yo, Jay, you need to think about your future, or yo, Jay, you gotta be realistic. Can you really keep dancing? Regardless, even the people who I love the most, friends and family, I had so many people who were against me. But the fact that I had this conviction so strong in my heart, I had to follow that. So know what it is that you're doing, know the reasons why you're doing, understand your motives, because that is going to be your rock. That's going to be where you're going to draw your strength from to pursue anything that you want to do in life. Because you can talk to anyone, people can hear your visions, people can hear your goals, but not everyone's going to be on the same page as you. No one knows your future, no one knows what's up ahead for you, but if you know in your heart that this is what you want to do, then by all means, freaking do it 100% and forget what anyone says. So I'm going to go off topic a little bit maybe, but so of course you guys know I was living in Vancouver, but then I moved to Arizona. And what's interesting, I moved to Arizona not to pursue dance. I actually felt a little bit burnt out, and I wanted to do something different. I wanted to start a new life, clean cut, and just, I guess you could say, live a mediocre life. And so when I went to Arizona, you know, I was working a 9 to 5, a normal job, and you know, of course, I still want to kind of just dance, you know what I mean? But it wasn't something I was trying to pursue as a career. But not until, you know, I entered a few-year style battle, and then word started going around about me, and, you know, I was getting invitations or something like this. It was getting more clear to me that doesn't matter where I'm at, doesn't matter what I'm doing, but if you're supposed to do something, you can't deny, I'm sorry to sound cheesy again, you can't deny your purpose. Me personally, I do believe we all have a calling in life, or we have a gift, we have a talent. And it's, for me, at the end of the day, what we like to do is meant for others.
Yeah.
And so, because I was in Arizona, and, you know, just things just kept happening, things just kept lining up, and I'm like, yo, like, I gotta quit my job. I quit my job, and now I'm back to this whole Bgirling tip, and it was the best thing for me. It was a good thing for me to go to Arizona, just because it opened my eyes and helped me to realize, yo, you do love what you do. You just got burnt out. And it was the same thing with the whole Red Bull thing, is understanding balance.
Yeah.
Understanding balance. And
so while you ended up quitting, and in retrospect, Arizona wasn't the right, quote unquote, right thing, it was completely necessary in your stepping stone to where you're at now.
To where I am right now. And honestly, it's like, I tell my homies this all the time, especially my fam jam in Arizona. It's such a mind flip just to see, now I'm not trying to say that, I'm anyone big or special, whatever, but it's crazy to see where I'm standing right now. Because when I was in Arizona and working my 9 to 5 job, I had so many moments where I was just like, yo, instant regret. What the hell was I thinking?
What were you working at, if you don't mind me?
I was working at the zoo. And Maka's gonna clown on me on this. Man, shut up if you're laughing right now.
Why is she gonna clown on you?
Because I was a photographer. but not a real photographer. I never told you I was a real photographer. I just worked there as a photographer.
Were you one of those people that like, hey, you want your picture today?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But what was I gonna say?
That's kind of cool though.
Yeah,
working
no,
at the zoo.
it was a fun. Honestly, it was a fun job, and I got to know some really cool people, and we had such a good time. Shout out to Photo Peeps, my homies. But of course, like, you had
Photo Peeps. Represent.
But of course, there was moments where I'm just like, yo, like, I left everything in Vancouver. I had everything that I had going for me. I had my crew, I had my family, you know, I had the show company that I was working with, Project Soul, shout out to Kim Sato, my sister for life, you know, and the studios I was teaching at, and it was just, I'm like, I left all of that to do this, and it was just like, it's so crazy, but honestly, everything happens for a reason, and it helped me to really know exactly what I want. And yeah, and it's just such a trip. So anyways, back to people who are pursuing, you know, being artists or growing entrepreneurs. Do what you love to do, for real. And just make sure you know why you're doing what you're doing. That's definitely key. That's definitely important. Because if you're in it, for example, if Jeremy was holding this show for the reason to just because he wanted to be famous, hands down, it probably wouldn't be a long-lasting thing.
That's not why I want to do it at all.
I don't know. I can't even think of a stupid reason. But
no,
you know,
yeah.
but Jeremy's heart and Moy's heart in starting this podcast is for real. It's from the heart. So just make sure that whatever it is that you're doing, it's from the heart, you know, and then things will line up for you, guaranteed.
And everything that you said that you followed up with, not to sound cheesy or not to be cliche, it can be considered that, but they are usually, there's a saying, it's like cliches are cliches because they're true.
Yes.
So, and I think, you know, growing up and the more I get older, I realize that more. And when I think back when I was younger and I used to hear these things over and over, like follow your passion, do what you love, be in your heart, listen to your parents, these things that you hear and you're beaten over your head with, you hear these things over and over because it's true. So it's always worthwhile to be reminded that. And in retrospect, in hindsight, it's not cheesy, it's not corny, it's entirely true. Right. And I love what you said about conviction, and I think that's a word a lot of B-boys and B-girls in the scene can benefit from, and really understand what it means to be convicted by something and have conviction, and even on a simpler level, just have conviction behind the moves that you're doing. Yeah. You know, not throw a flare just to throw a flare, or not to throw a combo just to throw a combo. Like, have conviction and have substance and meaning behind your moves. Yes. So that was a really dope message. Really, thank you, really nice, and it's perfect. It sums up, again, hearing you, you know, your story from the beginning and how obsessed and geeked out you are over this culture. It explains why and how. It explains why you're so dope and why you're so skillful and why you continue on to this passion. And like you said, it's almost like you have no choice. Like, you went to Arizona and you did another chapter in your life, but you were drawn back because you know it's your calling and you know that's what you have to do. Yeah. So super dope. Oh, man, appreciate it. You had a fun time? Yeah, man. Thank you so much. Thank you guys. Can our audience make some noise, please? Thanks, baby girl. Appreciate that. Shout out to everyone tuning in. Michelle Oliveira, Luxury, Enrique, Justin Lowe, Justin from Vancouver. I know he's the homie from Vancouver, Justin. What up? And yes, shout out to Vancouver, Cali, everything that you represent. Photo Peeps.
Photo Peeps, Diamonds in the Rough. My
no, I do not want to picture JK47. Please let me just go watch the elephant with my kids.
Yo, I don't never. I can go off about
so
that.
So where can people follow you? You can drop your social medias and everything.
Yeah, follow me at everyday JK47 on Instagram, Facebook. Search out JK Mentezona. And that's all I got.
Yes, no, thank you so much. Yo, appreciate everything. Appreciate you. Shout out to our sponsors, Monster Energy, Houston Media Source. Tune in next Tuesday at 6 p.m. and every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Much love, world. Thank you so much. Peace.
Peace.
Let's go! Let's go!
Have you ever wanted to have your own TV show? We can make that happen at Houston Media Source. When you walk in the door, all you need is an idea. We have everything you need. Studios, cameras, lights, microphones, and more. All professional quality and state-of-the-art. Get started by attending one of our free orientation sessions every Monday at 6 p.m. at our studios at 410 Roberts near Minute Maid Park. Get more information online at hmstv.org. Make your voice heard with Houston Media Source.